Kieran McGovern here, Box and Bants, and I'm here today with a young Irish woman from all the way over in Essex. You probably have a nosebleed from being that far out of Clonmel, huh?
I know everyone says it. I'm a long, long way from Tipperary.
uh, so first of all, Shauna, you've had So last time I spoke to you, like in terms of an interview, was when you won the elites, and that was kind of like a real surprise to people, a real shock because you were really quiet about it. And knowing you were coming back, and then you won, and a lot of it has transpired in that time. Um, you've obviously turned over professionally with Robbie Flynn. Um, your decision to turn pro, I remember you reached out to me, in thoughts about it. Was your decision to turn pro? Was it because of the Olympics coming up in the weight category that you're in? Would that be a big part of it?
Yeah, to be honest, so lightweight division, obviously between myself and Kelly, Kelly with qualifying and obviously her having the slot, it's either stay as an amateur for a year, be a sparring partner, and I don't even know would I get sent away or anything. So after winning the elites and then winning the medal in Poland and then winning Harringay, I was my career is going really, really well. And obviously speaking to you and getting more information about turning pro and realizing it's actually easier than I thought. Like I was under this illusion that I really needed a Olympic medal or like a bigger criteria than what I had. So once I realized it was actually going to be that bit more simple to turn, I looked into it, explored as many options as I could. And when I realized then I could do it, I was like, I'm not waiting around staying amateur when my style suits the pro games. It always has. So I said it was the best move to make for my career. So I.
Mm. Yeah, I think and that's probably if Amy hadn't won a world championship at 66, she probably would have been thinking the same thing as you. Maybe at this time, she probably could have been like, "I'm at 63. Am I going to be allowed to fight at 60?" The only thing that she had on her side is that she's quite a lot younger than Kelly, so maybe she might have waited a little bit longer. But yeah, difficult position to be in because there's such a massive pool of talent there in the Irish squad. You look at 66 at the moment. You've Grania, you've Aoife, you've Amy. It's like you're wondering who's actually going to go to the Olympics. So I imagine that was difficult for you actually to leave the amateur game. That's something that all you've known, and now you've become a pro where you're purely looking after yourself and you've become your own business essentially.
To be honest, it actually wasn't as hard as I thought it'd be. When I came back, I was more or less looking after myself. Obviously, my club was here and they were doing the work with me in the club, but outside of it, in regard to running my conditioning, my diet, my everything, I was doing that all by myself. And then going up to Dublin, obviously, was traveling up my own. We had to do our high performance training, and then I was away. But obviously, I was traveling up and down to Belfast also. So that was another thing outside of it. I was doing on my own to progress my career as an amateur, and then with turning pro, I've a huge support system over here now. Turning pro, I know they say you have to do it all on your own, but to be honest, I actually don't feel like I'm on my own with the people that I'm surrounded by in Essex. I feel like I have a proper like family support network, and yeah, it's actually amazing. I've been enjoying every minute of it. Like the lads have been watching me, like the training so hard, like it's grueling. This is why they're all like elite level. They're all world champions over here because the training is next level. But I'm walking around with a big smile on my face every time we're training, and they're like, you're nuts, like you're actually nuts, like, and I'm like, oh yeah, ready for the next one, let's go. And they're like, you're not going to feel like that after a month. So we're like putting bets on and everything to see if I'm still going to be like this in a month's time. And I'm like, I will be like, because I just love it. I actually love it so much.
Um, Obviously with being a pro, a lot of things have to be um mapped out for yourself. If you want to make sure that you get the best opportunity possible, that means like coach, manager, all these things that you pick are very important. Did you had kind of a period of time where you went quiet? I imagine you were speaking with a lot of different people about coaching, about management. I imagine you were weighing up a lot of your options.
Yeah, so I actually looked into it with you in May, and obviously it didn't actually officially turn until 2 weeks ago, so that's mid-September. So it's been away with it for about 3.5 months. But it was looking into everything, looking into who the best coaches were, best managers were. I got offers, but you know when you know something just doesn't sit right, my gut, everything, my gut was telling me something better is going to come. Had so much belief in myself that I could go far and I could do really well, but I was so particular on the team I was going to have around me. That's why I waited. And then the opportunity with Robbie only arose 4 weeks ago. So I got a call Thursday, then I got another really good call the Friday, and then I got on a ferry with Robbie the Friday after, and I was straight over. I met Kevin, and I turned that Monday, signed the contract, and that was it. It felt so right. It was literally an opportunity that I could not turn down. It was literally like the goal ticket. People dream for the opportunity that I've gotten, but they see the talent in me. They see the hard work. I'm really, really ambitious, and they believe that I'm going to go all the way, and they only know me 2 weeks. Like I'm really, really, really happy with the support system I have and the team that I have right now, and I firmly believe that it is the right one I have. Definitely.
What were the conversations you had with Robbie in particular that made him basically stand out or kind of pull you over eventually to sign with him?
It was the fact that him and Kevin Mitchell co-managing. Kevin Mitchell, obviously, as you know, he's so many good solid relationships with loads of people that can get me connected. So what Robbie can, Robbie's people in the business side of it. Like I only announced our terms like 2 weeks ago, and I have 2 dates already. That's how quick Robbie moves. Like Robbie's going to get the rankings very quickly onto title shots. Robbie's avenue, and then with Kevin's getting the sparring, Kevin's doing the training, Kevin's getting other promoters board, getting me on pretty much on the cards that I want. So it's a relationship where the both of them work separately, but it works really well if you get me. He's a good source with people that I need, and then Robbie's the source with getting the fights and getting the dates and getting me moving. So yeah, the co-partner class, and I believe the two of them are going to do really, really, really well with fighters. Really well with fighters.
So I imagine you trained in Matchroom gym with Kevin before you actually signed officially with both of them. What was it like those first few days that you were there?
So I came over the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, there was no waiting around because I had to start arrange for the Monday. I wanted to do pads with Kevin, so Kevin get to see me and see what I can get to see what he's about. So we trained with each other, and I think within 5 minutes, just the structure of everything, the way he had it down to the mobility, to the warm up, down to the shadow box, and the different movements, the different fundamentals that I didn't do before that he my game. I just clicked. This is the man. Like obviously, I had a different coach before I came over here, and I was fully adamant I wasn't going to leave the coach. I wanted to stay with the one I had, but obviously with seeing the way Kevin worked, it was like I just felt like it worked really well with me. I had to. So we sparred the Monday, and I'm not joking you, right? He literally just told me I needed to swivel into my punches more because I was snapping them. Just from that one pointer that Kevin gave me that only taught me 12 hours before, I knocked a girl out in sparring. So if we could do that in 12 hours, what could we do in 3 months, 6 months to a year, like I said. So all that week been in the camp. So the week I was there with the Matchroom gym was the hardest week of camp, right? And the training, I wasn't out of place. I was, my time, my sparring was unbelievable. Every time I was getting better. Obviously I'm learning, but I go in and I just give it all, and that's one thing that they absolutely admire. And anytime they gave me a bit of direction or want me to do something, I did it straight away, no second thought, no. So the week was amazing, and I got on so well with all the lads. Support from the lads in the gym was just unbelievable. It was just class. Like Gogarty was in my corner. with Kevin on the Friday evening, and just even having him there, it's joke-worthy, you know, like he's 2-time world champion, he's amazing, and he's just a phenomenal fighter. So to be beside that and little on me there, and I'm like, now I feel like I'm in the right place, because I do believe I have a good talent, and I believe that it can like bloom around the right people, and I believe that's what's happening while I'm over here in Essex.
One thing that Thomas Carty said, I remember when he, over COVID, when he started sparring and whatnot over in with Lawrence Coley, Derek Chisora, all these people. Obviously, he boxed at a high level in Ireland, especially amateur level, and he'd been in many different gyms in Ireland sparring. But he said the one thing that shocked him when he went over to the UK, especially in the pro gyms that he was in, was the intensity in training. He was like, it wasn't that they were doing anything in particular extraordinary, amazing, but it was very little small details that they were different, and the intensity of everything was just so much higher. Is that something that you've come across?
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of the stuff we do it is like what we do at home, only there's probably an extra round here. So they go by counting rounds that you do in the hour and a half that you're training. So by the time we finish a session, maybe, so our Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays are, we'd say, sparring days, we would have done like 15 or 16 rounds all together, but it's broken up between shadow boxing, between sparring, between bag after. You have to do your speedball, ladders. Like there's so much extra, but it's structured so well from start to finish. And like over in Ireland, the training is amazing, but it wouldn't be as long, if you get me. They make sure to get absolutely everything in the training sessions all the time. And then the running, like that triangle that they do, I've never done anything like that in Ireland. And it's next level. Like you're doing 0.9 of a mile, but you're going up and you're coming down, and then you're going to cross, and you have to do it. So for women, it's averaging at like 5.5 minutes, and men it's 4.5. And then the steps, it's like 140 steps up, and you have to aim to do it under 50 seconds. And my God, like it is unbelievable. But it's what you need to be doing. Like Joe said a thing, when I've done all my triangles and I've done all my steps, I know I've no worry getting in the ring with absolutely anybody. And it's a fact. It is a fact. Once you do all that training and you tick all the boxes, don't cut any corners, there's no one in the ring going to beat you, because you're going to be 100% in the best shape of your life, physically and mentally. Because I'm telling you, when you're on that triangle and you're on those steps, the mental side of it, and it kicks in to try and tell you to stop, that you're too tired, but you have to fight the urge to keep going. And that's where the mental side comes in. And obviously everybody knows in this game, it is 10% physical, 90% mental. And that is 100% fact. So if you're mentally strong enough, you'll get through anything in this game, I believe.
The gym's full of a lot of very well-known boxers, such as Conor Ben, Joe Cardina, Macy Rose. There's others there that I'm missing there, but in particular, just Tony Sims. Tony Sims is the main man who's always been in charge of the Matchroom gym, and he has had a few world champions. But he's also known for being the guy who was always ran Matchroom gym. Like when Anthony Joshua first turned over, he was the first person doing his corner. And he's brought through a lot of people into overachieving, you would probably say. Probably Kevin is the only one that put some people, I'd say Kevin himself would probably say is an underachiever. But Tony Sims always had faith in him. Have you got to see much of what Tony Sims does brush off onto Kevin? Are they very similar in the way that they coach?
Of course I have, and I've spoken to Kevin an awful lot. Kevin has learned so much off Tony in the years that he's been trained by him, as well as worked alongside him. Yeah, you can see it. You can see the similarities in them, but you could also see the differences in them. I think they do complement each other inside in the gym with the fighters, and they can see it. There's Kevin's Kevin's really fun and upbeat, and he's what you need around camp season, because obviously camp can be so grueling, and you're so tired and you're fatigued and you're mentally just destroyed at times. And then you have Kevin Mitchell that comes in, and he's like, lads, he's so hyperactive, it's unbelievable. He comes out with these one-liners you're falling off your chair laughing. So he gets rid of, the seriousness out of it. He's exactly what anybody needs in a camp, and that's being totally honest with you, and to have in your corner. Tony's very he's a brilliant trainer. I've watched him. He's phenomenal, and look what he's done with the fighters, and just be around the whole atmosphere, and to be around Tony Sims and all of them. It's been an amazing experience, to be very honest with you, to just watch the way he views everything and sees everything. The way I am as a fighter, I train flat out, but I like watching the coaches and how they coach and how their eyes work and how they see things. And yeah, it's a really, really, really good gym, and it's well run by them. Really well run, to be honest.
Right. Well, one word I mentioned there was Matchroom. I know you haven't signed with a promoter yet, but you have 2 fights already booked in by Robbie. But I see that you're up at the press conference today in Wembley for Matchroom. You pictured with Eddie Hearn. I imagine they would be someone that yourself, Robert, and Kevin would be aiming for you to get signed with, hopefully get a fight on one of the cards and show what you can do.
Yeah, so there's 2 promoters that we're kind of in talks with, but yeah, the big one, as everybody knows, and it's the elephant in the room. I want the Katie Taylor card. There's no point shying away. I want the Katie Taylor card so bad. It makes sense. I'm the last one to fight Katie in the amateurs, and I am going to say it again. For me to have my pro debut on Katie Taylor's card in my home country would just be a dream come true, and that is no word of a lie. It would 100% be the best thing that could happen to me, for me in my career, and to start it off. It would just be amazing, and I get to show everybody what I'm able to do. Like, to be honest, we were talking about getting signed and all, but I'm okay with going out there, showing everybody what I can do, because I believe there's no one I can't get in the ring with, and I believe I'm going to do serious damage to people that are in the ring, and that's no word of a lie. We're aiming to literally knock out my very first opponent, and maybe one after that, and you never know after that either, because from seeing what I could do after one spar, and the quality of the sparring I'm doing, I'm sparring the boys, and the lads think I'm extremely strong for a woman, and I'm only in my 2nd week of turning pro. I still have a lot to learn and a lot to develop. So yeah, I believe I'm going to be one to watch, and that is no word of a lie. And I think every promoter is going to be wanting to sign me up after they see me, and my managers think the exact same thing. But our big thing now is activity. I want to be active because I want to start climbing the rankings very quickly. I want title shots. I want it all, and that's no word of a lie. I'm going for the top, and there's no waiting around for it, to be honest.
Yeah, you were talking about the Katie thing there, and Katie spoke about you during the week. It was said to her about you turning over, and she didn't actually realize you were turning over, but she said you were talking, like, your team. Sorry, you were talking with the coach Ross, and I don't people really understand the history there of the elite final. For people don't understand, like, because Katie was basically was God really in women's Irish boxing, and really a lot of women's boxing in general, amateur level. But whenever she wanted to compete in the elites in Ireland, no one would ever fight her. So she was constantly getting walkovers every year, and she'd turn up to the elites and she'd just be getting the certificate and the cup. But the one time she ever fought for you, finally, you were the only person to actually put your name in the hat and fight her. And a lot of people wouldn't have entered with her because they were like, well, we're just going to lose. But how did it transpire that you end up putting your name in and fighting her, and that went down as the only time that she fought for an Irish title?
So the funny story to that, my coach actually wanted me to go 57 for those All-Irelands. He didn't even want me entering, and I really did. So I have belief in myself, and I always have. I feel like I'm tough enough to take on anybody. Even if I do get bet, I don't believe there's someone strong enough to actually take me out. So I said it to my coach. I was like, just leave me go in. I have nothing to lose, only everything to gain. It's Katie Taylor. This woman is my idol. Like, and I'm not one for shying away, never have been. But he was like, no. He was like, I want you to try and make 57. But then I get sick 2 weeks before the fight, and I couldn't go 57, so we had to go 60. So I had to box a girl, Kaylee McCormack, her name was, in the semi-final. So to beat her, to me, was the golden ticket. So I beat her, I get the golden ticket, which is to box Katie Taylor. It's like something out of Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, like, but to me, it was the golden ticket. It was something I really, really wanted to do. People thought it was mental. People thought it was doing it to just get a name, and people thought my knees would buckle. People thought I'd get knocked out. You know the way talk goes. But I was in the corner in my fight before Katie, and I was dancing. I was dancing to the music. I was loving life. I didn't have a care in the world. All I had to go in and just enjoy the experience, and I did. I went in and I gave it absolutely everything and had a great fight. I had a great fight because there was no pressure on me. As I said, I had nothing to lose, only everything to gain. And look what I got out of it. I got 4 rounds, 4 amazing 2-minute rounds with Katie Taylor, the #1 in the whole world. Like, and nobody would ever share the ring with her because they were too afraid. And I didn't care. To me, she was another person. Obviously, she's my idol, and it was the best experience of my life. But at the end of the day, the way people look at it, she's 2 arms and she's 2 legs, like 2 arms and 2 legs, like I did. Do you know what's the worst could happen? So yeah.
And a fight, like, look, any boxer, when you lose a fight, like Deirdre Gogarty was even saying it, like the Christy Martin fight, people always mention that to her, like, oh, you don't get enough credit for the Christy Martin fight because it changed the way women's boxing was. And it did. That was probably the most significant fight in her life, but she won a world title. But I think she appreciates it now, but still at the same time, she's like, yeah, but I lost. But when you lose fights like that, I suppose now looking back, are you kind of like, look, she was just so good, and I actually, in the end, it was actually just a great honor just to share the ring with her.
I don't think of it that way. I'm just proud that I did it, and I did 4 2s, and I did really well. She said it to me, it was one of the best fights she's had in Ireland. And she's had so many people flown in, but she's stopped them. Most of the people that have been flown in for her, because I was at most of the amateur tournaments that she was headlining, she stopped them all, and I didn't get stopped. I look at it as one of the biggest and best experiences in my entire life, and it made me grow. It actually honestly was one of the best losses I've ever had, and that's the best way to put it. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, you could see your reaction at the end. You know, you were still smiling and you gave her a big clap. You know, when they raised their hand, like, so. There was no shame in it. You obviously you put in the best performance you possibly could. So Robbie, Flynn, your manager, he's already booked you 2 fights. I imagine they're going to be 4 to 6 rounders. Maybe would you go straight into 6 rounders?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. So I imagine from speaking to Robbie, he can see, obviously, in the women's division in general, because of the depth, he would see you fighting for some version of a title within 5 fights. Is that his aim in the top end of next year, to have you fighting for something significant around March or something like that?
Yeah, 100%. We actually only spoke about it today, roughly March, April. There's no reason why I can't be.
So the 2 fights that you have booked, you've won the 11th of is it the 11th of November?
Yeah, and the 9th of December.
18th, or is it the 18th of November, or the week before the Katie thing? Anyway,
so it's November and the 9th of December. They're the ones definite.
So your aim is to fight them 2 and the Katie card in between. That'd be your aim.
My aim is to definitely get the Katie Taylor card.
So your conversations at the moment that you have with the 2 promoters, is there anyone at the moment that really looks like actually happening, or is it just talk at the moment?
It's talk really, but the way myself and my managers have kind of agreed that we want to just get me active. So maybe get before Christmas. So say I get 2 to 3 fights by Christmas, I'd be 3-0, and then we look into it, because obviously with a promoter, I'll be more active without a promoter. So So I want the 2 and 3 and 0, and then I'm more than happy to sign with somebody. But we just the way we're doing it now, we want to just get me out and get me seen. Obviously promoters are going to want to see me. They'll see me at either the night. They'll either see me at the Katie Taylor card. They'll see me either first in York Hall, and once they see it, they're going to be banging down my door to want to sign me. They are in talks, but obviously promoters, before they make their decision, they do want to see how you are as a pro. It's all well and good having these great spars and having this great criteria that they can look at, but obviously it comes down to how you perform inside the ring. And I plan on putting on an outstanding performance where they're going to want to sign me. To be honest, I haven't decided which one is the best one to go for. I'm leaving that into my manager's hands because I trust them, and I trust that they're going to make the best decision for me. All I want to do is to be able to fight, and that is it.
Last thing I want to say to you is, so you've spoken about Katie being your idol and the person that you were looking up to growing up, like a lot of girls growing up in Ireland. But obviously, as it's transpired over the last year, that people are finally getting to know the story that Katie herself had an idol, and there was women boxing on the island before Katie. Unless a lot of people don't realize that. In Deirdre Gogarty, have you come across Deirdre's story as well as the people after her, like Deirdre Nelson, Christina McMahon? Have you looked into that at all? Because it seems like something a lot of women boxing on the island that turn over pro actually aren't really aware of.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm actually going to start off with the thing. I have to agree with Katie. Christy Martin and Deirdre Gogarty's fight, that title shot that was on it was on
Mike Tyson, Frank Bruno.
My God, it definitely should go down in the history as the best female fight I've ever seen in my life. I don't even think there's female fighters out there right now like that. The punches that they threw and took were just, you just don't see that. Like, you do not see that. It was just absolutely phenomenal. And like there as well, I wouldn't care about the decision. That is definitely. And how many, they said it watched about 60 million views.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it was originally not on the pay-per-view, and it was bumped up to the pay-per-view. So it was the first time ever women fought on pay-per-view. But yeah, it ended up being fight of the night.
Yeah, and then I listened to the thing with Deirdre about her wanting to fight, and obviously watching all the other male Irish fighters, and she wanted to do it, but she couldn't. 4 years the woman was training and fighting without a license, or without being allowed to fight, is just unbelievable. Like, the way I see it, if I had to train and not allow box, I don't think I'd even bother, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody would have the mental strength to keep continuing. And she kept fighting, and because of her keep fighting, it had a ripple effect on for obviously her getting what she did. And then you have the thing with Deirdre Nelson, Christy Martin, the whole story behind her is absolutely phenomenal. And then another thing that actually came up to me, when Christina McMahon went for that world title, I was only for watching that being like, what is actually going on? Because I was under the illusion that only males could pro fight, and then seeing a female without a headgear, I thought it was the maddest thing in the world. But at the end of the day, that's what they had to do to get me to where I wanted to be, and got Katie to where she wanted to be. And like Christine O'Hara, she's now doing it. So there's loads of Irish fighters you need to look back on. It's not just Katie, and I've only got the awareness of that in the last 2 weeks. But it is all of us are just carrying on the torch for each other. And that's what it's going to continue to do. But everybody needs to remember it. It doesn't just go back to Katie. There is Deirdre Gogarty, there's Deirdre Nelson, there's Christina McMahon. Christine O'Hara is going to make her own history as well. She's another Irish woman, Northern Ireland woman, same thing. And then you have the story for Chrissy Martin. I know she's American, but that's a story in itself. My God, that was just unbelievable. And Deirdre Nelson, do you know? So there is, and there's going to be another woman after me, and then another woman after me, but it all stems from all of us. Do you get me? And I have this opportunity without all of them doing everything that they did. So yeah, I'm severely grateful for everything that they've done to get me to where I am, and I hope I do them proud and I carry on the torch and carry on the legacy for all the next generation female fighters. And if they didn't fight the fight that they fought and get us to where we're at, like, I know it wouldn't have mattered because it would have never been there, but look how exciting female pro game is now. Look how exciting female pro fights are. Like, I think it's really, really on the up, and it's taking over, and I do believe it's only going to get better because the standard of the female is just getting higher and higher. And there is more wanting to turn, and I believe there's going to be even more, and the standard's going to be even higher. And it's all done because of them. And I would love to see definitely more Irish anyway, because the quality in the Irish female fighters, especially in the amateurs, is absolutely amazing. We've great female fighters. So I'd love to see them follow on and turn pro after the Olympics, because it would be amazing to see more Irish fighters. Obviously, I'm honoured to be from Ireland and to be pro and to carry on from what Katie did, and do my own thing, because obviously Katie is her own fighter, and now I'm going to do my own thing. This is my path, Shauna Okeefe's path, and I hope to do justice. And I plan to be world champion. I plan to be undisputed. I literally want it all, and it's literally because of the female that I've grown up to watch my whole entire life. But not only that, I'm as the days go on, I'm learning more and more about the females that were there in the 90s, and like watching Deirdre Gogarty and watching Chrissy Martin, it's literally lit a fire in me even more, because I feel like I can resonate a lot with them, because they remind me a lot of me. Our mindset's the same. Like, she didn't get on great in school, either did I. I did not get on great in school at all, but I'm a great fighter. So I think all of our backgrounds kind of end up being very similar. Yeah, it's really class. It's really class to learn more about other females than Katie.
Right, well, I think we'll leave it at that, Shauna, but I really appreciate your time. Appreciate you taking time to speak to me after a long journey back from the weigh-in at Matchroom today. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing your first fight. Hopefully there'll be some sort of a stream for it. And if there's a stream, you can see it on my page. So yeah, thanks very much again for your time, Shauna.
Thanks so much for the interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.